Hey, hi, hello. Welcome to the LaSala Show. October 20th, 2020, episode 2. How say you? I feel pretty terrible. My Packers lost in humiliating fashion. We'll get to the sports later. I'll break it down for you. But we're going to start off with some goddamn broken news. This actually just came out a couple minutes ago. Mr. Fucktard Eric Trump shamelessly photoshopped a picture of Ice Cube and 50 Cent in which they were wearing hats. Ice Cube was wearing a Big 3 hat for his little 3-on-3 league that he's part owner of. And 50 Cent was wearing a Yankees hat. And he photoshopped both of them to say Trump 2020. And then he tweets about it. He's like, look at these courageous Americans. And Ice Cube was like, get the fuck out of here. I mean, they just really have no shame. They don't give a fuck. We'll stay on the Trump for a minute. Trump called Fauci a disaster. An idiot. And he promotes a radiologist as a consultant, a health consultant for the virus. Now, Fauci is an expert in infectious diseases. A radiologist, that doesn't add up. That's like if my ass was hurting and I went to a podiatrist. Or if I had a earache and I went to a cardiologist. Stay in your lane. Trump, you're fucking up left and right. Fucking up. Amy Coney, Long Island, buried. It's a terrible person. She's gonna reverse Roe v. Wade. Mark my words. You're putting babies back into vaginas. Let's see. An astronomer from Columbia University says there's a 50% chance we're living in a simulation. So, maybe none of this matters. Maybe there's a giant glitch in the simulation. That would explain a lot. Americans, according to a study, are excessively eating, drinking booze, smoking pot, playing video games, and watching porn more than ever during this quarantine situation. Well, no shit. I did all those things before this started. Why wouldn't I double down? A priest in Louisiana was caught filming a threesome inside of a church. I'll say that again. A priest in Louisiana was caught filming a threesome inside the church on the altar. Two of the ladies look like they're into that Rob Zombie music, a little gothy. Good times though. I mean, wow. If there's a hell, you are going to it. Speaking of going to hell, Ghislaine Maxwell, her documents revealing intimate details of her sex life is set to be unsealed. She, of course, famously accused of trafficking underage girls to pedophiles in power, like Epstein and probably every other president there's ever been. The next and final debate will use the mute button as needed. Thank God. Thank God we can actually get somewhere with this shit. Over under how many times they have to mute Trump as opposed to Biden. I didn't hear Biden really interrupting as much as old daddy bastard there, Trump. In San Francisco, there was a sex party with over 500 guests, included emus, a fountain with 50 gallons of semen. That's a lot of cum, ladies and gentlemen. 50 gallons. And then what is it? Just like, I don't know, the consistency of semen is just so tricky. You know, every guy's load is a little different, I would think. I mean, is it spraying into the air? There were 71 arrests, 31 underage drinking arrests. That's fucking scary. 17 bestiality arrests. I think that carries like a 15-year sentence. That's a lot. That's a lot of emu fucking. I mean, why an emu? They seem harmless. Let's go overseas here for a minute. In Vietnam, they're selling reused condoms. So they're finding condoms, washing them out, reshaping and repackaging them, and selling them. I want to throw up in my mouth too. No, I understand. You're grossed out. You should be. In Pakistan, a new law will make it so that child abusers are publicly hanged, which I've been calling for this in the United States for years. I mean, I want people shot on live television in the face if they've done something unlawful. I mean, you know, it would have to be pretty bad, but still, shoot them in the face on Fox News or ABC. Just do it. May deter a few folks from their nefarious behaviors. Let's see here. Oh, we have a caller. Let's see. Hello.
This is an important message from your insurance agency, ILH Insurance. Press 9 to opt out after you hear this very important message. Health insurance plans are still available in your area. Press 5.
It's funny because I don't have insurance, so that's a fraudulent call and I will be suing them. I want to get to some crappy commercials that I've been seeing because, you know, the only time I really watch television is during sporting events when I'm forced to watch commercials. And there are a few that really stick out to me that really chap my ass. There's a Downy detergent ad. It's supposed to be wrinkle-free or some shit. And it's like this grandparent type couple, and like the grandma's trying to put something up on a high shelf and she can't quite reach, so then the grandpa comes and he's like helping her and they're kind of struggling, and then the kid's coming downstairs and he just hears what it sounds to be like fumblings of sexual intercourse between what seems to be his grandparents, because he's a young child, maybe teenager, and then the old couple is obviously old. Maybe his parents died or something, they took him in. I don't want to go too deep. The point is, he's weirded out because when they come out of the closet, of course their shirt is all wrinkled from hoisting up this box or whatever it was into the closet. So then they do a follow-up in this same commercial where, you know, they show the bitch doing the laundry and everything, and then they have the same issue again somehow. And the kid comes down and he sees their clothes aren't wrinkled, and he's like, phew, for a second there, you know. And it's one of the stupidest commercials I've ever seen in my entire life. Not to be outdone, Charmin, the toilet paper company, which, by the way, let's just start here. If you're still using toilet paper, I don't know what to tell you. If you don't use ass wipes or have a bidet, bidets are fucking cheap these days. You can get one on Amazon for like $50. Spray your asshole down. If you had a piece of shit on your face, would you just wipe it with some toilet paper? No. You'd get a wet wipe. You'd get some alcohol wipes or something. Toilet paper is, again, I don't understand. I haven't used toilet paper since I was like in 4th grade. Okay, you get the wet wipes. That's it. My ass is so clean you could eat off of it. Other people got fucking dingleberries, low rent toilet paper, getting all caught up in your asshole hairs. Gross. And that's kind of where this commercial goes. So it shows these little cartoon animatronic bears, and they're all like twitching around in their seat. You can tell they got the little swamp ass. They're like moving around. They got one bear playing video games and he's scratching his ass with the other hand. It's disgusting. And then the mama bear comes in. She's like, oh, I got Charmin. This is better. It's thicker. It'll get stuck in your asshole much better. It's disgusting. And again, do we really need commercials for products that we're gonna buy no matter what? If I don't like your commercial, that just dissuades me from buying your product even harder. I've never seen a commercial and be like, you know, I have to get that. That is compelling. I am going out right now and getting that. Now, sorry, I'm taking a swig of this. I got a little beet juice with ginger, and apple, lemon, and cayenne pepper. I gotta tell you what, speaking of toilet paper, it's gonna be pretty frightening when I sit down on the toilet here in a few hours and it looks like I've just shit an entire bowl of blood out of my ass. The other commercial that, and it's multiple commercials, this Jake from State Farm. First of all, when did they replace the white guy with this really attractive black Jack dude? What the hell is this about? He looks like he should be playing football. And he's posing next to Aaron Rodgers. He has bigger biceps than Aaron Rodgers. I hate it. The premise of this preferential treatment, like, oh, I'm getting the blah 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 deal, insert name here. I mean, it goes everywhere from wood whittlers in the middle of the woods to the dykey pizza delivery girl to the massage therapist whore to NFL quarterbacks. And they all think they're getting this great grand deal. And he's just Jake from State Farm doing his job. He's like, there's no deal. And they're like, sure there isn't. And then he just like shrugs at the camera and smiles his cheesy, perfect smile. I'm sick of that shit. It's such a slap in the face to anyone intelligent to think that a insurance company is going to give preferential treatment to anyone. It's a scam of a business to begin with. The World Series starts tonight. The Los Angeles Dodgers, who have been in the World Series 3 out of the past 4 years, will face the Tampa Bay Rays. They used to be called the Devil Rays, but someone had an issue. There really is a devil, and I find it offensive. So they're just the Rays now, which is a fish. I saw an interesting stat. 2 Dodgers players, Clayton Kershaw and Mookie Betts, combined make $26 million. The Rays' entire roster makes $28 million. So, I'm rooting for the Rays. My mom lives in Tampa. It's just a good story. They're the underdog. And if the Dodgers lose, I think their manager is in for a pink slip, as they used to call them. Alright, I've avoided it long enough. Let's get to the NFL. Jesus Christ. So the Packers lose 38-10 to the Tampa Bay Gronkaneers. Packers start out. They go up 10-0. I'm loving it. I'm thinking, oh God, this is going to be easy. I don't have to stress. And then Rodgers throws a pick six. Alright, bounce back, okay. And then Rodgers throws a pass to Devontae Adams. It's bobbled up in the air. Picked off, almost another pick six. Boom. It's 14-10. Then we had like a series of like 7 3-and-outs. And the Buccaneers just waxed us. But it wasn't like Tom Brady threw for 300 yards or, Ronald Jones ran for 200. It was just a very bland ass kicking. There were no points scored in the fourth quarter. And I got to tell you this. As a Packers fan, I take every loss very hard. I mean, I as a child, as a youth, I cried after every loss. And then, you start to not mature, because I'm not mature at all, but you start to learn the game a little better. And you realize, there's only been one team to ever go perfect. The fucking Dolphins back in the day. Every team's going to have a little loss here or there. This isn't a trend of what's going to happen to the 2020 Green Bay Packers. This is a blip on the radar. And we're now 0-2 after a bye week under Matt LaFleur. Now, immediately after the game, both LaFleur and Rodgers came out and said that they had a poor practice week leading up to this game. And Rodgers said that perhaps this was a good thing to get a little kick in the ass. So maybe all the guys would focus in a little more on how they got to be 4-0 and stop feeling yourself so much. Which I was saying during the blowout. I was saying this to my lovely fiance Maddie. Hey, this is going to be a good thing. On to Houston. And those fucking saps. Okay, we'll get into it. Okay. The next game on the docket. The Titans beat the Texans because of some questionable ass coaching by 7,000-year-old coach Romeo Crennel. He is, of course, the interim coach because Bill O'Brien got fired. And so the series of events went like this. The Texans score. They're up by 7 at that point. And instead of kicking the field goal and going up by 8, they decided we want to go for 2 and be up by 9 because we know our defense sucks. Let's just get it out of the way now. Well, they missed the 2-pointer. The Titans come down very promptly with Derrick Henry just beasting people. And then throw a touchdown to A.J. Brown. They tie it up. They go into overtime. At the coin toss, Deshaun Watson, quarterback for the Texans, when they lose the coin toss, his body language, he like just slumps over and turns away like he knew they were going to lose based on that coin toss. And sure enough, Derrick Henry pounds his way down to the goal line. And that was all she wrote. Titans 42, Texans 36. Titans undefeated. Tannehill, 4 touchdowns. Derrick Henry, 2 touchdowns. Killing it. The Colts beat the Bengals. Now, the Bengals went up 21-0 and then mustered up 6 points after that. Phillip Rivers bounced back from a mediocre performance last week through 3 touchdowns. But man, I don't know, 21 points, that's hard to lose. You gotta try to lose a 21-point lead. The Falcons finally get their first win against the Vikings, scoring 10 points in all 4 quarters. The Vikings really only scored in garbage time. This was never close. Matt Ryan looked dominant, 4 touchdowns. And the only highlight for the Vikings is their rookie wide receiver Justin Jefferson. 9 receptions, 166 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kirk Cousins looks like a pile of dog shit. And he said something along the lines of, well, if I keep throwing interceptions like this, I don't think I'm going to be around much longer. Yeah, you fucking think? Oh, we have another call here. Let's see. Hello.
Thank you for choosing MasterCard, Visa, and Discover. As our way of saying thanks, we'd like to reward you for making your payments in a timely fashion.
Oh.
We're excited to inform you that you're now eligible to qualify for 0% interest rates on your existing credit card account.
Oh!
If you still owe more than $5,000 in total credit card debt, press the number 1 to qualify for lower interest, lower payment.
See, this is what I get all day. This motherfucker's calling me, trying to scam me. The government. I'm doing a podcast here, people. Leave me alone. The Broncos beat the Patriots. Who saw that coming? They kicked like, what was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 field goals. Beat the New England Patriots. Cam Newton looked like shit. Drew Lock didn't look much better, but they pulled it out in New England. That's the upset of the week, I would say. The Giants barely hang on to beat the Washington Redskins. That was a fucking boring game. The Ravens hold on to beat the Eagles. The Eagles scored 22 of their 28 in the 4th quarter when the Ravens got bored. The Steelers beat the shit out of the Browns. I mean, that game was over by halftime. Not a lot to say about. I mean, Baker Mayfield is kind of terrible. I know he's playing hurt. He's had some okay games this year, but all of them against terrible teams. Anytime he plays a real opponent, he's not so good. Steelers still unbeaten. The Bears somehow beat the Panthers. This one was pretty close. And Teddy Bridgewater came back down to earth, threw a couple of interceptions there. One of them wasn't his fault. This one chapped my ass because I don't think the Bears are actually this good. And they're number 1 in the division right now. Unrealistic trajectory for them. The Lions beat the Jaguars. 2 irrelevant teams, nobody cares. Speaking of irrelevant, the Jets lose to the Dolphins. This one was never close, as it was 24-0. One interesting development, however, in the garbage time, the Dolphins put in number 1 pick Tua Tagovailoa from Alabama, and he came in and threw a few passes, and then about 30 minutes ago it was announced he would in fact be the starter for their next game moving forward. Now this is questionable. I don't know what the Dolphins are thinking. Ryan Fitzpatrick was the 8th overall quarterback in fantasy scoring, 7th overall in QB rating, and the Dolphins had a plus 47 point differential, which is 6th best in the league. So it doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, it was inevitable that Tua was going to come in at some point. But for them to do it now, it doesn't make any sense unless they're about to trade Ryan Fitzpatrick, which could definitely happen. I mean, I could see him going to the Cowboys. The Eagles. Anyone in the NFC East could use him. The Redskins? Put Fitzmagic on the Redskins. The football team. Ridiculous. Give yourselves a goddamn name. 49ers beat the Rams. Who saw that coming? The Rams were supposed to be this hot team. 49ers were supposed to be all banged up, injured, underperforming. Garoppolo comes back and throws 3 touchdowns. Kittle has a big day. And the Rams, still a lot of questions about them. Yeah, they're 4-2, but 4 of their wins came against the NFC East. And jury's still out. Jared Goff is hit or miss. So that division's going to go down to the wire. On Monday night, we had the doubleheader. The Chiefs, which the game started at 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific. That's just bizarre. It's just weird. But hey, COVID, cool times. What a fun year. The Chiefs kind of played cat and mouse with the Bills. You know, it's like the Bills were always sort of in it, but never really were. They relied mostly on their run game. The Chiefs, it was like a misty game. You know, a lot of wet balls out there. Chiefs now 5-1, Bills 4-2. And then the Cardinals beat the brakes off the Cowboys. Kyler Murray, who I think played at Texas A&M, if I'm not wrong, 7-0 at that exact stadium in Dallas. Yeah, he didn't have much of a game, but he was efficient. And Kenyon Drake, Chase Edmonds, Christian Kirk had a great touchdown. And the Cowboys, man, Jesus Christ, they're bad. So bad. A lot of injuries, obviously without Dak. Basically their entire offensive line is gone. Their defense was bad to begin with. And I feel for my former coach, Mike McCarthy. I mean, that's a shit roll of the dice right there, sir, for your first year. I do not envy you, and but nothing makes me happier to see the Cowboys lose. I mean, that is just sweet. When I was a child, I hated the Cowboys so much because every year they would somehow beat the Packers in the playoffs. And I remember I got this calendar as a kid, and you know, it had like every month had a different player, like the top 12 players were all featured every month on this yearly calendar, and one of them was Emmitt Smith. And I remember the Packers lost the Cowboys one of the times, and I went to this calendar and I ripped out the page that had Emmitt Smith and I lit it on fire inside my house. That's how angry I was. That's how irrational I was. Alright, enough NFL. We'll cover some next episode. I'm going to leave you with some fun facts. Woohoo! Actually, spoiler alert, these are not fun. So if you get sad about things easily, please move on. A man survived the sinking of a ship in 1871, leaving him traumatized afterwards. But about 40 years later, he was finally able to overcome his fears and sail again, only to die on the Titanic. That's a tough one. Another Titanic story. This one's a little more uplifting. The second officer on the Titanic stayed on board until the end. He got trapped underwater until a boiler explosion blew him free. He survived by clinging onto a capsized raft, and he later volunteered in World War II, helping over 120 men evacuate from Dunkirk. Interesting. A man in South Africa adopted a baby hippo after it was rescued from a river. 5 years later, the hippo dragged him into the same river and killed him. Jesus Christ. That's like the guy that saved John Lennon's killer. John Lennon's killer, I forget his worthless name, but he went to kill himself on a beach one day by, clogging his exhaust pipe into his car, and a jogger was up early and noticed and pulled him out of the car, saved his life, and that guy went on to shoot John Lennon. Some bad luck there. Let's see here. Humans appeared 200,000 years ago, but record keeping only started 6,000 years ago, which means 90% of human history has not even been documented. Interesting. In 1977, this is a fun one, and I'll get you out of here on this. In 1977, the University of Evansville men's basketball team was killed in a plane crash. One player didn't travel because he was sick, but don't worry, he died in a car crash 2 weeks later. Good times. That's all I got for you. I'll be back on Saturday. Until then, don't die.
2, 3, 4. Isn't it interesting? I feel so alive, yeah. And at the same time, I'm ready to die. Whoa. Isn't it interesting? I'm in love, but I just don't like the time. Yeah, well, it's funny to me how we're feeling now. And she's a light sugar, like a mile before I down. And it's easy 'cause you know it's true. I think I've fallen for you. Okay, yeah. Well, we know it's true. Well, I like the things we do, and I like it when you say all the things you say. Like when you tell me you've been thinking about me for days. I am so infatuated with you, that's true. I think that you're great, you think that I am too. Yeah, you're like butter, so smooth. Okay, well, isn't it interesting? I feel so alive, yeah. And at the same time, I'm ready to die. Isn't it interesting? I feel so alive, yes. And at the same time, I could die. I could die. I could. when